Hello everyone listening. Are we awakened today? I wanted to start with that because we are in a time of COVID-19 or pandemic, and many people have been talking about this. That is a disease. We look into biological side of it, but it's also a time of great awakening, as many spiritual masters and teachers have been talking about this so-called shift. So are we awakened today? Are we aware that besides COVID-19 just being a biological disease, it's also something to look at as the Great Awakening? We are sort of forced to be home, and disease, if you look at it from the spiritual side of it and the vibrational side of it, is we are forced to stop, to take a rest, to take a break, especially if it's a virus or any kind of disease. We really need to rest at home. So it's a time for us to be home and be with ourselves. We're locked up, sort of. So it gives us the opportunity to ponder upon our lives. We have enough time to be home and our rooms and to ask ourselves these questions of what is happening and be part of the so-called spiritual awakening and shift in our planet. The shift has been happening for the last 40 years, and I first learned that from that Barbara DeAngelis was one of the first authors and speakers and spiritual awakeners in the United States in the the early 1980s. And she was the brave woman to start this movement that we are humans and we come to life, and a time comes in our lives where we ask these questions. Why I'm here? What is happening? What is my purpose here? Oh, I'm here to learn and share my gifts with the world. It's time to wake up. I need a teacher. I need to find out more about what I'm doing in this world. So we have been in that shift for the last 40 years, but especially it's much more intense in the last 20 years. And this Great Awakening is like the last phase of that shift. And basically it is moving from that patriarchy. We have been for 10,000 years in that sort of masculine energy, the patriarchy, when we are pushing and doing to get something, doing something to get something, doing something to get something, to overwhelm. And we have been seeing that. I'm sure everyone can relate to that, all those goals and pushing to get them. And but we have been moving from that towards the more softer energy of being in that moment, being into the center of our souls, realizing that when we're in that quiet space in the center of our soul, then we can hear that little voice of what is our next step. So I've been moving towards that softer, they call it the divine feminine energy, softer energy of being, more intuitive, emotional, and that. So welcome to the world of awakening. My name is Ilka Handshaw, and I'm a spiritual counselor, teacher, speaker. Some people call me healer. I'm also a aromatherapist and author. And I love the word awakening because I wrote a book that it's called Are We Awakened Yet? And that book actually, as many of us, we go through life and our life story becomes our life's calling or work. And I was originally going to write a book on healing, sharing a little bit about my story and what we're all going through as humans. But it turned into a book on taking care of the earth. So it's all about awakening. We are spiritual counselors or teacher healers. We're called, and we have been learning that. I have been learning this for the last 25 years. So we're called to, as one of my friends told me, to rise and shine and to support others, to awaken others, for them to understand all this that our planet has been in a shift for the last 40 years, and to assist humanity with its awakening and rebirth. And speaking of rebirth, this is exactly what is happening. Birth as itself is suffering, but is a catalyst. So we are the catalyst for this deep evolutionary awakening for our planet. We, the teachers, the counselors, the speakers in that on awakening. So it's my honor and privilege to get out of my shell and play big. I've been told for the last 10 years especially that I need to show up in a big way, because part of the being is who we are becoming. Not about the doing, but who we are becoming to have our dreams come true and to manifest these dreams and to live our passion and our purpose and our vision in this world. So we basically are doing that, and we're just told that this is how we need to do that. And it is a wake-up call for all of us as humanity, and it's the rebirth. And I was going to make that parallel that happened in our humanity, the 14th to 16th century, the Renaissance, from French meaning rebirth. So that sort of similar thing happened, and so many innovations come, including the Gutenberg, and creating, he invented and came up with that printing, the printing um, machine. So now we have paper to print and share our books or writings with the world. And of course, all this art came about the Michelangelo and the Leonardo da Vinci. Astronomer Nicholas Copernic came and shared with us what is really the solar system. And it was a change of beliefs, basically. It was a shift, um, basically from the feudalism and that medieval age to about new ideas, overthrowing the old views and customs in the world. So that's sort of what is happening today. Many innovations happen when people are in lockdown. So this is what happens to us in our world in COVID-19. People are home, and there is a lot of creativity coming up. And all these new things are being created and found, and we come together, and that's what it's all about. We come together as humanity to be more loving, more compassionate, more kind to each other. I see that everywhere. I hope everyone does. And we are also learning how to do things together, to be in collaboration and tackle global crises like that. And to me, it's maybe like a practice. Who knows what might come next? I'd like to believe that the last thing that will happen to us, the last global crisis, but who knows? So we are learning how to come together as countries and communities and that, and tackle that together. And to me, as a healer or spiritual counselor, I also see how we were responding. I teach how we basically we can achieve our dreams. That's what I teach and support people with, that we can have our dreams and visions and work in this world, and we can shine our gifts and light to the world by releasing the baggage and the limiting beliefs we carry. We all go through life, and as little children, we create some beliefs as a coping mechanism. Emotional pattern is basically survival mechanisms. So we create those to survive, but a time comes when these old beliefs don't serve us anymore. So this is what I teach and support people with, how to be a detective and find those limiting beliefs, baggage, that issues in the tissues that are our own, but we also carry some of our ancestors' limiting beliefs or baggage, and the science proves that. It proved it in the last 20 years, the science of epigenetics, that we don't just inherit our ancestors' physical features, but also we inherit their issues and issues and their baggage and emotions and addictions and all that. So we need to take care of that for ourselves and show responsibility for each one of us to do that, so we can rise as a collective beings and as a humanity and a planet, and to have less suffering. Of course, suffering is catalyst, but we don't want so much of it. When we learn from our lessons, then we rise and we have more joy. And that's what the purpose of life is joy. So sharing care, what is really happening if we experience certain struggles today, that this comes from our childhood, and I have different ways of coping with that. I study aromatherapy and how essential oils are so powerful for that. So that's how I started 18 years ago, learning the essential oils and how to do emotional release. And I constantly learn because I needed to. I didn't have a choice but heal, to learn and heal and learn how to do that. And I was a scared child. My teacher told the whole high school that I was in thousand students, that I was the shyest student she had. And so I'm someone that was hiding in my shell, and I was terrified growing in a family with abusive father. So it was a scary childhood. There were great moments too, and there was joy and traveling in that, but also there was a scary time. I never knew what my father could come up with, and we were so scared with my brother. So that's the world that I come from. And again, where I would be without my struggles, I learned to be stronger, to be kinder, to be more compassionate and more loving, and working on myself and doing my own healing and constantly learning and healing. That's what I started doing, sharing with others how they can go through this and realize that there is a better life, that we don't have to be scared or angry and terrified and let down, having that I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. The I'm not enoughness is the number one humanity's limiting beliefs. So we don't need to be into that. We can shift from that. And as we understand more that how we do anything is how we do everything, the not enoughness will show up in every area in our life. Like, I don't have enough love, or I don't have enough clients or money or whatever. I don't have enough joy. That shows up everywhere. And we fill up our lives with whatever it is, quotes, trying to get stuff. Now, toilet paper, many people uh, hoarding the toilet paper. So we hoard so many things because we don't feel enough inside. And working on that, moving and shifting towards being enough, being who we truly are, and shining our light to the world, finding our gift and sharing it with the world, that love and that. So I have been doing that for 18 years, and I know I only have so much time. If that resonates with anyone, and if anyone can relate to that sort of, my story is becoming my life's work, or my life's calling. If anyone can relate to that and wants to learn more and needs a teacher to be more spiritually awakened, I'm available. Again, my name is Ilka Handshaw, and I have a website with my name, Ilka's Healthy Heaven. Again, ILKA, Ilka, as Ilka's Healthy Heaven. I do free Thursdays teleclasses for anyone in the world to come up the last Thursday every month. So we're in May. This month is May 28th, the last Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I do that free teleclass. You can connect with me and hopping into that class where I share information, and then there is questions and answers always, and healing. One of the things that I share now for all is to practice that meditation of, what if I could be, what if I can be in the center of my soul? and just spend time in that sort of meditation. Because our monkey mind will tell us, oh, you're thinking of that, but see the evidence that is not it. You are a loser, or you didn't create this or that. So when we say, what if I can be in the center of my soul, um, we realize that we have more space, um, and we have more time to even breathe, time and space. We can do some deep breathing and really hear this little voice, our soul. We can really hear that little voice, and that to be our next step, and the next step and next step, what we are to do today, or next day, or every day. So that's one little exercise that I teach. And of course, I wrote an article. It's called The Great Awakening. It's in the Natural Awakenings magazine here for South Florida. Every city has Natural Awakenings magazine in every county in the United States. So if you're in South Florida, you might see that in the Whole Foods or other health food stores. But I invite listeners to read my article. It's on my Facebook too, Ilka Handshaw, through Facebook, and I share a lot more about that. But being in the center of our soul, doing some meditation, and staying in the positive, we need to be grateful for life itself. And this is my main tip, that we're awakened, we are here today. So we're alive, and most likely healthy. So we need to be thankful, number one, for our life, and that we're healthy and we can show up and share our gifts with the world. So being to the positive, this will pass, and we'll be on the other side as more um, loving, more compassionate humanity. So that's what that great awakening is, that shift will end with that phase. And we will work in more collaboration and love in our world. And I see that, everyone probably sees that. I want to express thank you, and everyone to remember the people that are the frontliners, that are saving lives and that risk their lives for us to be healthy, and for that COVID to be gone pretty soon. So thank you, thank you, thank you for our first responders, for all of those that are filling the shelves so we can shop and eat and have everything that we need to go through that, and come back to our new normal. It will never be the same normal, but it will be the new normal in our world. And I just wanted to share that, and I don't know if my time is up. um, I really wanted to share and care, and for all the listeners to realize that if some things are not working right now, it's because we need to look into those blocks and limiting beliefs and clear them up. And again, thank you for having me here today and sharing that opportunity, and what is that wake-up call for us as humanity, and what we can do as humanity all over the world.